Today I'm going to talk about something that is super normal and super common, and that is just simply our menstrual cycle. It's something that as women we don't talk about as much as we should, and we're trying to break that stigma and get it out in the open and kind of start a conversation that is more regular surrounding our periods. One question that you might have with your period is my period normal? Is the length normal? Is the flow normal? We've all thought it before, especially if we don't have our period at the same time every single month, we might start to worry. But usually this can be totally normal, and I will get into more details about why that is and kind of answer any questions you might have surrounding your period. First, I'll answer the question, what is a period? Our period week is that small amount of time during our entire menstrual cycle where the lining of our uterus is being shed, and that comes through as menstrual blood. It should be only about a week long, and it's right before our body prepares to start our cycle over again and get ready for pregnancy and ovulation and all of that jazz. At the start of your menstrual cycle, which begins after your last period's flow stops, the lining of the uterus is rebuilt again to prepare for ovulation. During ovulation, one of your ovaries releases an egg, and your body starts to change hormonally to prepare for a potential pregnancy. If that egg is fertilized, it will attach itself to the lining of the uterus, and you will start to grow a baby. If it's not fertilized, it will then start what is called your period week, and the egg will exit your body, and the lining of your uterus will start to shed again, starting the cycle all over again. This whole process is a beautiful part of being a woman, and it's the whole reason the circle of life can continue. There are times that our hormones might get a little bit thrown out of whack. Because our hormones are changing so much every month, something can get thrown off. So the next question is menstruation a good thing? While it can sometimes feel like menstruation is an absolute pain for all of the reasons, it is actually a very, very good thing, and it means that your body is working properly. So if you don't have a period, there might be something that's thrown out of balance, and that might be something you need to talk to your doctor about and get to the root cause of why it's not happening. Another question we're all wondering is my flow too heavy? If your flow is 6 to 8 teaspoons or 30 to 40 milliliters of blood, then you're right on track. You can actually measure this amount with your Pixie Cup. There's little lines in the cup so you can see just how much you're bleeding and kind of what your flow is. It's totally normal to even have a flow that's a little bit heavier than that, so don't be alarmed if you might have a heavier flow on the beginning days and a lighter flow on the ending days. That's totally normal. If you're anything like me, on the beginning days of my period, I panic because I'm like, that is so much blood. But if you actually measure it, it's not nearly as much as you think. You'd be surprised how little it actually is. So if you're concerned that your flow might be too heavy, just measure it for a few days and see where you're at. The next question is my period too long? If your period's between 2 to 7 days, then you're right on track. The average period lasts 5 days, so if you're anywhere between that range, you're solid. If your period is going longer than 7 or 8 days, you might want to double check with your gynecologist just to make sure that everything is on track. The last question I want to talk about is, my cycle is more or less than 28 days. Is that okay? The average cycle lasts between 21 and 35 days, so you're totally fine if you fall between that range. Again, this doesn't include any missed periods or periods that are only occurring every few months. That's a totally different topic, but if you are within that window, you're totally good. If your period is much shorter than 28 days or much longer than 35, then you definitely want to check with your doctor to make sure that your hormones are in check, because something could be thrown off. And again, you just want to be safe, and it's better safe than sorry. In conclusion, every single person is completely different, and there are no two cycles that are the same. Your cycle might also change throughout your life. I know at the beginning of my cycle when I was a teen, it was more irregular when it would occur, and now that I'm an adult, my cycle is way more regular and occurs on the same time every single month. Sometimes something will get a little bit thrown off, and it might be a little bit later or a little bit more early, but normally these things are totally fine. The only time you want to get something checked out is if your period is way too short, way too long, or if your cycle is way too short, way too long, or if you're missing periods or having multiple periods in a month. These are all things you just want to get checked out, again, just to make sure things are okay. It could be as simple as one of your hormone levels got thrown off, and that's usually a really easy fix, so definitely don't panic. If you have any other questions that we didn't answer, go ahead and leave them in the comments and we'll get back to you. And I'm curious, did you find this post helpful, this video helpful? If so, let us know how, and let us know if you have any other information that we might have missed.